Have you ever felt that strange, quiet knowing? That moment when you just knew the answer before the evidence appeared? A decision that seemed irrational, but later turned out to be right. What if I told you that this isn't luck, it isn't coincidence, it isn't guesswork? It's your intuition, the hidden compass of the mind, the bridge between logic and something far greater. In the next few moments, we're going to explore how to unlock this hidden power and make smarter decisions instantly, not by abandoning reason, but by learning to weave reason with intuition, creating clarity where confusion once lived. This isn't just about making better choices. It's about creating a life of wealth, purpose, and alignment, guided by an inner intelligence older than time itself. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover could change not only the way you make decisions, but the way you live your entire life. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean at twilight, the horizon painted in shades of fire and indigo. The waves are not merely water, they are living metaphors, each crest and fall echoing the rise and fall of choices, chances, and consequences. And in that quiet moment, as the tides whisper secrets older than language itself, you feel a strange certainty, not born of logic, not born of calculation, but of something deeper, something older, something within you that is always known. That is intuition, and that is where our journey begins. We live in an age where information is abundant, but clarity is scarce. We are bombarded with numbers, studies, forecasts, and expert opinions, each vying for our trust. Yet, for all the data we consume, many of us still feel paralyzed when faced with decisions that truly matter, whether in business, relationships, health, or the pursuit of meaning. We hesitate, we overanalyze, we delay, and in doing so, opportunities slip through our fingers like grains of sand. And yet, across cultures and across centuries, mystics, leaders, innovators, and sages have spoken of a power that cuts through this fog, the quiet voice of intuition, the inner compass that can guide us instantly towards smarter decisions. But let us pause here, because to speak of intuition is to enter a paradox, for intuition is at once deeply mystical and profoundly practical. It is the whisper of the cosmos, and yet it is also the most efficient, streamlined decision-making tool our minds possess. It defies the spreadsheets, yet it outpaces them. It cannot be taught in the traditional sense, yet it can be cultivated, sharpened, and trusted. To develop intuition is to unlock a different kind of intelligence, one that integrates the rational and the irrational, the visible and the invisible, the known and the unknown. Picture intuition as a lantern in the cave of the mind. Most of us rely on the torchlight of logic. It is bright, directional, and sharp, but narrow. It illuminates what is directly in front of us, but leaves the vast cavern of possibilities in shadow. Intuition, on the other hand, is more like a soft, glowing orb that lights the space in all directions at once. It does not give you every detail, but it reveals enough of the terrain to know where to place your next step. That difference, the narrow beam versus the ambient glow, determines whether we stumble or stride forward with confidence. And here lies the irony. Every human being already possesses this light, yet most of us doubt it, ignore it, or bury it beneath the noise of overthinking. We treat intuition as if it were some fragile, unreliable hunch, when in reality it is the distilled wisdom of our deepest experiences, our subconscious intelligence, and perhaps even the echo of something beyond our individual selves. Neuroscientists now tell us that intuition is not guesswork, but pattern recognition on a scale the conscious mind cannot process in time. Psychologists remind us that intuition allows us to act swiftly under pressure, when analysis would paralyze us. Philosophers and mystics insist that intuition is the thread connecting us to universal truth. Could it be that all three are correct, and that intuition is both a neurological phenomenon and a spiritual compass? Consider the entrepreneur who senses the right moment to invest in a venture, even when spreadsheets predict otherwise. Or the artist who knows when a piece is finished without consulting a manual of proportions. Or the parent who instinctively knows when their child needs comfort without a single word exchanged. These are not random guesses. They are the echoes of something deeper, a silent intelligence guiding action before the conscious mind has fully caught up. Yet here's the challenge. In a society obsessed with certainty, intuition feels dangerous. We want guarantees, proof, evidence, stamped and notarized. But intuition does not arrive with a certificate of authenticity. It arrives like a whisper at midnight, fleeting and easy to dismiss. And so we mistrust it, bury it, label it irrational. The tragedy is that in doing so, we often exile the very faculty that could save us time, protect us from error, and propel us toward greater success. What if intuition is not irrational at all, but rather supra-rational, beyond rationality in the same way that light is beyond shadow? What if intuition is not the absence of logic, but the bridge between logic and something more expansive? To develop it is not to abandon reason, but to weave reason into a larger tapestry, where both analysis and instinct coexist. And this is where the conversation takes on its cosmic hue. Because when we speak of intuition, we are not only speaking of neural pathways and subconscious algorithms, we are also speaking of resonance, of aligning with patterns that are larger than us, as if the universe itself leaves breadcrumbs for us to follow. Some call it synchronicity, others call it flow, and still others call it divine guidance. Whatever name you choose, the sensation is unmistakable. The sense that life is nudging you in a direction, and your intuition is the receiver tuned to that frequency. And so, this exploration is not simply about making quicker or more efficient decisions, though that will come. It is about reawakening a forgotten dialogue with the self, a conversation between the conscious and the unconscious, the rational and the intuitive, the human and the universal. To learn intuition is to step into a more fluid way of being, where choices arise not from fear, but from alignment, not from hesitation, but from clarity. As we move deeper into this journey, we will uncover the hidden mechanisms of intuition, how it works, how to listen for it, and how to distinguish it from the noise of anxiety or bias. We will weave together ancient wisdom, modern science, and symbolic narratives to paint a fuller picture of this mysterious faculty. And then we will ground it in the real, in money, in relationships, in business, in the everyday crossroads where smarter decisions create better lives. For now, though, pause with me at the shoreline of this vast ocean. Feel the waves moving within you, subtle yet powerful. Recognize that even in this moment, your intuition is active. It guided you here to this conversation, perhaps to hear something you already knew, but needed to remember. That is its way, not to shout, but to whisper, and in its whisper lies the power to transform everything.
Imagine, for a moment, that you are standing at the edge of a vast, silent forest. Before you, the path splits in two. The first path is wide, well-trodden, marked clearly by signposts and the echoes of countless footsteps that have gone before you. It is the path of logic, of convention, of the safe and the known. The second path is narrow, almost invisible, veiled by mist and the low-hanging branches of ancient trees. There are no signposts here, only a deep, resonant quiet, a feeling that pulls at something behind your sternum, a magnetic whisper that seems to originate not in your ears, but in the very marrow of your bones. Your mind, that brilliant and analytical master of the known world, begins to shout its calculations, its risk assessments, its projections based on every piece of data it has ever consumed. But beneath that familiar noise, there is a different signal, a knowing, a quiet, unshakable certainty that the narrow path, for reasons you cannot possibly articulate, is yours to take. This, right here in this breath-held moment of choice, is the birthplace of everything we are about to explore. This is the silent dialogue between the mind you use to navigate the world and the innate genius you carry within you, the voice of the intuition millionaire. We live in an age of magnificent noise. We are inundated with data, opinions, algorithms, and advice, a ceaseless digital torrent that promises clarity but more often breeds a peculiar and paralyzing modern ailment, the crisis of choice. We are taught to worship at the altar of analysis, to believe that every decision worthy of its name must be dissected, debated, and delayed until every variable is accounted for. We outsource our inner knowing to external validations, to gurus, to trends, to the fearful whispers of our peers. We have been conditioned to believe that the quiet voice within is irrational, unreliable, a ghost in the machine, to be silenced by the superior force of reason. But what if we have it precisely backwards? What if that whisper is not a ghost, but the very architect of the machine? What if it is the most sophisticated, ancient, and reliable technology we possess, a direct line to a field of intelligence that operates not on linear time, but on the quantum fabric of potentiality itself? This is not a conversation about rejecting logic. That would be like rejecting the sails on a ship because you have discovered the wind. Logic is the magnificent sail, crafted by experience and learning, but intuition is the wind itself, the unseen, powerful force that fills it and determines your direction, your speed, your ability to reach shores unseen. The intuition millionaire is not someone who ignores reason. They are the master sailor who has learned to read the subtle shifts in the air, to trust the currents beneath the waves, to navigate by the stars of their own inner cosmos. They understand that wealth, in its truest sense, is not merely a number in a bank account, though that is a beautiful and valid expression of it. True wealth is a state of resonance. It is the abundance of right choices, of fulfilling relationships, of vibrant health, and of a profound peace that comes from knowing bone deep that you are moving in alignment with the deepest current of your own destiny. It is the wealth of time, freed from the prison of constant correction and wrong turns. It is the wealth of energy, no longer spilled in the anxious deliberation over every minor choice. This inner genius, this intuitive faculty, speaks a language older than words. It communicates through the subtle senses, through the gut feeling that tightens in warning or relaxes in approval, through the sudden wave of goosebumps that arrives with an inspired idea, through the heart's inexplicable lift at the sight of a certain opportunity that the mind hasn't yet figured out. It is the feeling of flow, when time distorts and action becomes effortless because you are no longer pushing against the current of the universe, but are being carried by it. This is the state that athletes call the zone, that artists experience as the muse, and that the most successful innovators and investors know as their most prized competitive edge. It is not magic, though it feels magical. It is physics. It is biology. It is the art of tuning your personal instrument to the frequency of what is already waiting for you in the field of all possibility. We stand now at the threshold of that silent forest. We are about to walk away from the noisy, well-lit path of pure external logic and venture, together, into the misty, mysterious, and infinitely rewarding terrain of your own inner landscape. We will map the architecture of this innate wisdom. We will listen to its stories, and we will learn the practical rituals to clear the static so its signal becomes the clearest voice in your life. This is an invitation to remember a part of yourself that you have always known was there, a part that has been waiting patiently and silently for you to finally turn down the volume of the world and listen. This is the activation of your most ancient and sophisticated internal technology.